Have you ever been trapped inside your own head? Your thoughts screaming so loudly they completely silence your voice? What if I told you that the key to unlocking fluent, confident English isn't learning more, but rather thinking less?
Welcome, everyone, to the Personal Growth Talk podcast. I'm Carol, and alongside me is the incredible Bob. We are absolutely thrilled to have you with us today for a conversation that we know will resonate deeply with so many of you.
We are diving into a challenge that haunts countless English learners. We're calling this episode Talk English Without Thinking. And before you worry, no, we are not suggesting you abandon your intellect at the door.
Not at all. What we are going to explore is how to quiet the constant, frantic analysis that happens every single time you open your mouth to speak English. It's about ending the cycle of overthinking that paralyzes you.
If you have ever felt your mind go completely blank in the middle of a sentence because you were mentally diagramming its grammar, or if you've spent what feels like an eternity internally translating a simple thought before daring to speak it, then you are precisely who we are speaking to today.
We will uncover the psychological roots of this habit. We will examine how it actively holds you back from your true potential, and most importantly, we will provide you with a clear, actionable roadmap to break free from its grip.
This is about transforming your English so it becomes more fluid, more self-assured, and infinitely more natural. We are going to be completely honest with you, sharing our own personal struggles and the practical strategies that genuinely work.
So, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, settle in. Let's begin this journey together into how you can finally, truly talk in English without the burden of relentless thought.
So, Carol, to kick this off in a real way, I have to ask you directly, can you recall a specific moment where you completely blanked or got caught in that web of overthinking while trying to speak English?
Without a doubt, Bob. I remember it vividly. I was in college, standing right after a lecture, and I needed to ask my professor for clarification. But instead of just asking, my mind became a chaotic loop. I was stuck on, should I say, could you explain, or is can you explain more polite? Then I wondered, is explain even the correct word for this? The mental debate went on for so long that when I finally opened my mouth, all that came out was a weak, never mind.
That feeling is so familiar. I had a very similar experience, but mine was during a crucial job interview. I knew my subject matter inside and out, but I was so determined to phrase everything in what I imagined was perfect English. I started a sentence, then I paused midway. I backtracked and corrected myself. And then I did it again. The interviewer just watched me in silence. I am almost certain I lost that opportunity not to a more qualified candidate, but to my own overactive brain.
We have all been there. And I believe most people don't fully grasp the immense mental energy that is consumed simply by the act of talking in a second language. It is far more than vocabulary and grammar rules.
It is the immense pressure. Your internal monologue is asking, what if I make an error? Will I sound foolish? Is my accent too noticeable? That fear, that anxiety, it constructs a mental barrier. It is akin to trying to drive your car with the emergency brake firmly engaged. You might still be moving, but it is a slow, grinding, and confidence-shattering process.
And here is the great irony. The more we overthink and strive for perfection, the more strained and unnatural our English actually becomes. It sounds rigid. It sounds robotic. It loses the authentic flow of human conversation.
Absolutely, which is exactly why we are dedicated to dismantling that barrier today. It is entirely possible to speak smoothly and effectively, even with occasional mistakes. And the first and most crucial step is to release the death grip on the need to sound perfect.
That is the core of it. Later on, we will provide you with concrete tips and even a live practice challenge to help you embody this concept. But first, we need to understand the enemy. Let's dive in to the neuroscience and psychology of why our brains become our own biggest obstacles when we speak.
Let's pull back the curtain on what is truly happening inside your mind when you struggle to speak English fluently, even when you possess all the necessary words and rules.
It is vital to break this down. The common misconception is that the problem is a lack of knowledge. People think if I only had a larger vocabulary or if I just memorized more grammar, then I would be fluent. But the real underlying issue is rarely the knowledge itself. It is the processing of that knowledge.
Precisely. It is not that you do not know what you want to say. The problem is that your brain is attempting to perform too many complex tasks simultaneously. You are translating from your native language, you are analyzing grammatical structures, you are focusing on perfect pronunciation, and you are managing social anxiety, all at the same moment. It is the cognitive equivalent of trying to juggle flaming torches while solving an advanced calculus problem. The system becomes overloaded and, inevitably, it freezes.
That freeze is what we identify as the mind block. It is the direct result of your brain being overwhelmed by the intense pressure to perform correctly. Instead of thoughts flowing out in a natural stream, they become stuck, clogged by fear and self-doubt. And this almost always originates from a place of fear. The fear of error, the fear of sounding strange, the profound fear of being judged by others.
That fear activates what we can call a perfection mode within your mind. And when you're operating in perfection mode, nothing ever feels quite good enough to say. You begin to second guess even the most fundamental, simple phrases you have known for years, like, "How are you today?" or "I went to the store."
Let us give a very concrete example. Imagine someone wants to say, "Yesterday I went shopping." A simple, clear statement. But instead of just speaking it, the overthinking mind launches into a frantic internal dialogue. Wait, is the past tense go or went? Do I say yesterday first for clarity? Should I add to the? What if I confuse the word shopping? What if my pronunciation is wrong?
And by the time you have mentally navigated that labyrinth of doubts, the conversational moment has passed. Or even worse, you choose to say nothing at all. That silence, when repeated, solidifies into a habit. Your brain learns to associate speaking with stress and potential failure. So it begins to believe that it is safer, simpler to remain silent than to risk making a mistake.
But here's the fundamental truth that we must all internalize. Native speakers make mistakes constantly. They pause and say and they use the wrong word accidentally, they start a sentence over again. This is not a sign of failure. It is a normal, inherent part of authentic human communication.
Speaking is not a perfect science to be mastered. It is a living, flowing river of expression. And when we treat every conversation as a formal exam that we must pass, we build a dam that blocks that natural flow. So if you're listening to us right now and you have ever experienced that frustrating brain freeze in English, please understand this. You are not alone. This is not a reflection of your intelligence or your capability.
It is a common mental pattern, a habit formed by pressure and fear. And the most hopeful part is that habits can be broken. Patterns can be rewritten. This can absolutely be unlearned. The fundamental key, the secret we're building towards, is learning how to get out of your own way.
And that's where our central idea, the one that might sound a little strange at first, comes into full focus. The concept of talking without thinking.
Now, let us be perfectly clear. We are not advocating for turning off your brain and uttering meaningless gibberish. This is not about being careless or disrespectful. It's about relinquishing over control.
It is about speaking without that constant obsessive internal filter, without stopping yourself every other second to double check and triple check grammar in your head. Think of it like driving a car or riding a bicycle.
When you first learn, you are painfully aware of every single action, your hands on the wheel, your feet on the pedals. But with time and practice, it becomes automatic. You just do it. Your body and mind know what to do. That is fluency. That is the state we want to cultivate with speaking.
And here's the wonderfully cool thing. Your brain already knows far more English than you consciously give it credit for. Through all your studying, listening, and reading, you have built a vast internal database. You just have to learn to trust it enough to speak without micromanaging every single word that comes out.
Trust is indeed the key word, Carol. It's the foundation. Consider how young children learn to speak their first language. They do not stop to ask themselves, was that the correct use of the past perfect tense? They simply try, they experiment, they make errors, and they continue moving forward without a second thought.
And as a direct result, their confidence grows organically because they are not standing in their own way, judging and critiquing every single syllable they produce. Adults, on the other hand, often fall into the trap of believing they must achieve perfection before they even begin to speak. This mindset is completely backwards.
You do not become fluent and then start speaking. It is the very act of speaking consistently and courageously that is the engine of fluency. That is how you build it.
So, when we use the phrase talk English without thinking, we are really talking about cultivating the courage to speak freely. We're talking about placing your trust in the knowledge you have already accumulated and allowing the conversation to flow from that place of trust. And here's the most beautiful part of this process.
When you consciously stop overthinking, your natural speech rhythm, your authentic tone of voice, and your innate confidence begin to emerge and shine through. That is when you start to sound like your true self. That is when genuine human connection becomes possible. And let's be honest, isn't meaningful connection the ultimate goal of any language?
Coming up, we're going to delve into some of the most common and insidious traps that keep people stuck in this cycle of overthinking, and we will provide the first steps to break free from them.
Now that we've established the core philosophy of speaking without overthinking, it's time to get practical and identify the real-life mental traps that keep people stuck. These are the patterns we all fall into.
And if you recognize yourself in any of these, please do not worry. This is not about judgment. It's about awareness. We have all been guilty of these at some point. Let's start with one of the biggest and most common traps.
Trap number 1, translating in your head. This is when you meticulously form your complete thought in your native language first, and then you attempt to convert it word by word into English. It feels like the safe, logical thing to do, but it is a fluency killer. The fundamental problem is that languages are not mathematical equations with direct translations. They each have their own unique structure, rhythm, and cultural context. A direct word-for-word translation often results in awkward, stilted, or even incorrect sentences, which only makes you feel more stuck and insecure.
And it slows your speech down to a painful crawl. Your brain is stuck in a tedious process. Wait, what is the English word for puente? Oh, right, bridge. Now, how do I say long? Is the adjective before or after? The sentence structure is different. By the time you've assembled the pieces, the person you're talking to has already moved on.
Okay, trap number 2, grammar obsession. You are in the middle of a casual, friendly conversation, and suddenly your brain hijacks the process to debate whether you should use the present perfect continuous tense.
You find yourself at a coffee shop just trying to order a simple latte, and part of your mind is anxiously worrying about conditional sentences. It's exhausting.
The hard truth is this: perfectionism is the enemy of fluency. Mistakes are an inevitable and necessary part of the learning process. And what's more, most minor mistakes go completely unnoticed by native speakers who are focused on the meaning of your message, not on dissecting your grammar. Now let's talk about trap number 3, which is perhaps the most subtle yet powerful of them all: the fear of judgment. This is where your inner critic takes full control. You start thinking,
What if they laugh at my accent? Or what will they think if I use the wrong word? I'll sound so stupid.
That fear is incredibly powerful. It doesn't just live in your mind, it physically manifests. It makes your voice go quiet. It forces you to speak so slowly and hesitantly that you inadvertently strip away all the confidence from your delivery. You become your own worst enemy, silencing yourself before anyone else can.
To really highlight the difference this fear makes, let's do a quick role play. Carol, you will be the relaxed, confident speaker. I will be the version of myself trapped in overthinking and fear. Let's use a simple scenario, talking about a trip to the market.
Okay. Hi there. I just went to the market. They had so many fresh apples. The place was really lively today.
Um, I I go went yesterday to market apples many fresh. Is it okay? I mean, is that correct?
That was a painful but very real demonstration, wasn't it? We have all had moments where we felt like Bob in that role play, tangled in our own thoughts.
But did you notice, Carol? She may not have used the most sophisticated vocabulary, but her message was clear, her delivery was confident, and she connected. That is the ultimate goal. Communication, not perfection.
So if you find yourself stuck in any of these traps, constant translation, grammar obsession, or the fear of judgment, please be kind to yourself. Do not beat yourself up. The first and most crucial step is simply to recognize the pattern. Awareness is the spark that ignites change.
Okay, so we've shown a light on the traps. Now, let's pivot decisively towards the solutions. It's time to talk about how we actually stop overthinking and start speaking English with genuine confidence.
And we have to start with the foundation, which is your mindset. You can learn 100 speaking techniques, but if your underlying mindset doesn't shift, you'll find yourself right back in those old habits of hesitation. The battle is won or lost in the mind first.
So let's introduce mindset shift number 1. Choose progress over perfection. This is your new mantra. You do not need perfect grammar to communicate effectively and powerfully. What you need is clarity in your message, confidence in your delivery, and consistency in your practice.
Think about it from the other side. When someone is speaking to you in your native language and they make a few small mistakes, do you immediately think less of them? Do you dismiss their entire message? Probably not. In fact, you likely appreciate the effort they are making. Extend that same grace to yourself. Mindset shift number 2 is absolutely critical. Understand that fluency is built through active use, not through passive waiting. Stop waiting for some magical day in the future when you will feel ready. That day may never come if you wait for it. You must speak now. You must speak even if it's messy. You must speak often.
This is the core principle. Every time you speak, you are laying a brick in the path to fluency. Every time you wait for perfection, you are just staring at the bricks. The path doesn't build itself.
With these 2 mindset shifts in place, progress over perfection and fluency through use, you create a solid mental foundation. Now, you are ready to build upon it with practical, real-world strategies.
Now let's get into the actionable strategies. These are concrete tools you can start using today to train your brain for fluency. First, and this is a powerful one, make a conscious effort to think in English.
This means even when you are completely alone, narrate your actions or thoughts internally in English. For example, while making coffee, think, I am pouring the water into the machine. I need to get a cup from the cabinet. You don't even need to speak aloud. The goal is to train your brain to operate in English mode by default, eliminating the need for translation.
Here's another incredibly effective method, the shadowing technique. Find a short audio clip from a native speaker. It could be from a podcast, a YouTube video, or a movie scene. Listen to a sentence and then immediately pause and repeat it out loud, mimicking the speaker's tone, speed, and rhythm as closely as possible.
The beauty of shadowing is that it gives you no time to overthink. You are simply reacting and reproducing. It builds muscle memory for the flow and melody of the language, which is just as important as the words themselves.
Okay, ready for a challenge? Let's talk about the 1-minute freestyle. This is a brilliantly simple but potent exercise. Set a timer on your phone for just 60 seconds. Pick any everyday topic, your favorite food, what you did last weekend, your dream vacation, and your task is to speak about it nonstop for the entire minute.
The most important rules are no stopping, no going back to correct yourself, and no editing your thoughts midstream. Just let the words flow, however they come out. It might feel messy at first, but that is entirely the point. You are breaking the habit of self-interruption.
And if you really want to accelerate your progress, record yourself during these 1-minute freestyles. It might feel a little awkward listening to your own voice at first, but it is one of the most valuable tools for self-awareness. You will hear your progress over time, and you will become more comfortable with the sound of your own English voice.
Another fantastic strategy to keep the conversation flowing is to actively use filler phrases. These are the small, natural expressions that native speakers use all the time to buy a moment of thinking time without breaking their flow.
Phrases like, let me think for a second, or what I mean is, or, well, it's kind of like, are your best friends? They signal to the other person that you are still engaged in formulating your thought, which is far better than falling into a tense, panicked silence.
And it is so important to remember that using these fillers is completely normal. It is not a sign of weakness or a lack of knowledge. Native speakers do this constantly. It's okay to pause, to take a breath, to say, You are a human being having a conversation, not a robot delivering a pre-programmed speech.
Now, here is one of the most important strategies for real-time fluency. Make a firm rule to never pause and look up a word mid-sentence. That action is a flow killer. It immediately shatters your confidence and the natural rhythm of the dialogue.
Instead, if you cannot recall a specific word, your mission is to explain the concept around it. This skill is called paraphrasing, and it is the hallmark of a truly adaptable speaker. For instance, if you forget the word can opener, you could say the thing you use to open cans, or the metal tool that cuts the lid off a tin.
That right there is real practical fluency in action. It proves that your ability to communicate is not dependent on knowing every single word. It depends on your resourcefulness and your commitment to getting your meaning across.
All of these strategies, thinking in English, shadowing, the 1-minute freestyle, using fillers, and paraphrasing are powerful because they all share a common goal. They shift your primary focus away from rigid correctness and toward dynamic, effective communication.
And that is the ultimate secret. When you release the pressure to be perfect and instead focus on being understood, the entire experience of speaking English transforms. It stops being a terrifying test and starts becoming fun again, a genuine tool for connection.
And speaking of practice, coming up next, we are going to put all of this into action. We have a live speaking challenge for you right here, right now, so get ready to participate.
All right, this is it. The moment we put theory into practice. This is your invitation to speak English without overthinking. Right here, right now, with us guiding you through it.
We're going to lead you through a quick speaking challenge that you can do immediately, no matter where you are. There is zero pressure. This is a judgment-free zone. Think of it as play, as an experiment. Are you ready?
Here's how it works. We will give you a simple, everyday topic. Your mission is to speak about that topic for 1 full minute without stopping. It does not matter if you repeat words, if you pause, or if you make mistakes. The only rule is that you must keep going.
And here is the most critical instruction. You must not translate in your head. Do not form the sentence in your native language first. Just open your mouth and say whatever English comes out. Trust the knowledge that is already inside your brain. It knows more than you think.
Okay, are you ready? Your first topic is my morning routine. This is something you know intimately. You do not need to plan, just start describing it. Go ahead. Set a timer if you like, or simply start speaking now. We will wait for you.
Wonderful. If you actually did that, if you pushed through the hesitation and spoke for that full minute, you have already done something remarkable. You are actively training your fluency muscle, and that is how confidence is built.
Let's try one more to strengthen that neural pathway. Your next topic is a place I love to visit. Again, no planning, no perfect sentences. Just describe it as if you were telling a close friend about it. Start now.
If that felt awkward or challenging, that is completely normal and actually a very good sign. It means you're stepping outside your comfort zone, and that is precisely where growth happens. With consistent practice, this will become easier and even enjoyable. And so, if you have made it this far with us, please take a genuine moment to feel proud of yourself. You showed up. You listened with an open mind. You engaged in the practice. This is what real, tangible growth looks like. It is a series of small, brave choices.
And always hold on to this truth. Speaking English without overthinking is not about eradicating fear entirely. It is about finding the courage to be brave in spite of that fear. Every single time you choose to speak, even when your voice shakes, even when it feels messy, you are actively rewiring your neural pathways.
You are not just learning a language, you are constructing a new, more confident version of yourself. We wanted you to carry this episode forward as a personal permission slip. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to possess a fancy vocabulary. You just need to show up fully and speak from a place of trust.
Trust your accumulated knowledge. Trust your instincts. Remember that English is not merely a skill to be mastered. It is a living bridge. A bridge to deeper human connection, to personal growth, and to a world of new experiences waiting for you.
So keep moving forward. Keep practicing consistently. And most of all, keep believing with every part of your being that you are capable of speaking freely and confidently, because you absolutely are.
Thank you for sharing your time and your journey with us today. We sincerely hope this conversation has helped you feel a little lighter, a little stronger, and a little more ready to embrace the flow of speaking without thinking.
This has been the Personal Growth Talk podcast. I'm Carol.
And I'm Bob. We will see you in the next conversation. Take care and talk boldly.
Before you go, if this episode resonated with you or provided even a spark of inspiration, we would be so grateful if you would follow or subscribe to our podcast. It truly helps us grow.
And we would love to hear from you. Leave us a comment and share your favorite insight, or tell us about one sentence you spoke today without overthinking. Share your victory with us.
If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that like button and share this with a friend who is also on their English learning journey. Let's build this community of growth together.
And don't forget to explore our playlist, Personal Growth Talk Podcast, for more honest and deep conversations designed to help you thrive.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most of all, keep speaking your truth.